Bonjour. Giizhigad. Good day. Gwagwashkana Jeanskwe, Giizhigad, Kedjwana Dunjaba, Miwa Mshikedotum. Says, hello, I am Sparrow Woman, and I am from Kedjwanong, and I am the Turtle Clan. And when I say Kedjwanong, I could either be talking about Walpole Island, Harson's Island, St. Anne's Island, Algonac, and it means where the waters divide. And so this whole area is Kedjwanong, the waters divide. Today I wanted to share a story with my friend Chloe. It's a Nanaboozho story. Nanaboozho is a spirit and with human qualities, which means sometimes he's pretty good and sometimes he tricks people and sometimes he's a good teacher. And there's so many stories about Nanaboozho, but today we're going to talk about Nanaboozho and the Great Flood. Now, once upon a time, Chloe, have you ever heard of the Great Flood before? You don't remember? Have you ever heard of a big flood on the earth? I bet you have. Oh, I know your mom has taught you about the great floods. Well, Nanaboozho was floating on a giant log with all the animals. And the animals that couldn't fit on the log were swimming. And they would take turns on that giant log so everybody had a chance to rest. And then Nanaboozho had an idea. He thought, I know, if I can get a little bit of that earth way, way down there, I will use that to create a new earth. And so Nanaboozho dove deep into the water. And he swam down and down. Let's hold your breath. What does it look like when you're holding your breath, Chloe? Let's see you hold your breath. And he's swimming and swimming and swimming. And finally, guess what? He couldn't take it no more. He swam to the top. He swam to the top. What does it look like when you're swimming to the top, Chloe? Let's see your hands. You're fighting for your life. And he got to the top. And let's let out a breath and go, whoa. Phew. Well, Nanaboozho said it was so deep he couldn't even see the bottom. So, of course, he had lots of good swimmers with him. So first, we had our friend Nagig. Here's Nagig. And show us what Nagig does. He dives into the water, Chloe. And he swims and he swims. And he's holding his breath. And he's swimming and swimming. And then all of a sudden, he comes up again. And he goes, I couldn't do it. The water was just too deep. And then another friend came along. His name is Amik, Beaver. Now Beaver was such a great swimmer too with that lovely flat tail. So he dove into the water with a flap. Whap. And down he went. Let's see you hold your breath and swim down, down, down. And all of a sudden, he got so close he could just see it, but he couldn't reach it. And up he came. Up to the top of the water he came, and he goes, oh, it was just so deep I couldn't do it. So the next was Mong, the loon. And the loon says, I can do it, I'm small and fast. And in the water he dove. He dove down deep, flapping his wings and flapping his tail, going down deep as he could. And poor Mong, he could even see the bottom, but he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. So up he came and took a breath. And then, finally, along comes Giizhigad, the muskrat. The muskrat goes, I'll give it a try. And guess what? Everybody laughed. They thought, you're so tiny. You could never reach the bottom. And Nanaboozho said, no, stop picking on Giizhigad. He thinks he can do it. I believe in him. So Giizhigad dove into the water, down, down, down. And he was gone for such a long time. Everybody's saying, oh, surely poor Giizhigad didn't make it and he drowned. And then after a long while, up came his body, his lifeless body floated. And Nanaboozho sitting there going, oh, poor Giizhigad, poor Giizhigad. And then, as he looked closer at Giizhigad, he noticed something. He noticed in his little paws was some earth. He did it. So Nanaboozho took that earth and he said, now, Mshike, the turtle. Do I have a turtle shell in there for me, Miss Chloe? Do I have a turtle shell? Nanaboozho took the turtle shell, and the turtle swam up, and the turtle says, place the earth on my back, and I will help you create a new land. Nanaboozho took that earth and set it on Turtle's back in the water. And that land, and he yelled, he went to the 4 directions of the winds, Chinoodan. First he yelled, Chinoodan, Wabanong, and the winds blew from the east. And he yelled, Jawanong, and the winds blew from the south. And he yelled, Epengishmuk, and the winds blew from the west. And Giwadnong, and the winds blew from the north, all in a circle, around and round. And something wonderful began to happen. The earth began to grow on Turtle's back. And it grew and it grew. And it grew so much it formed a giant island. And they danced around and around in circles and singing songs, the animals and Nanaboozho, singing and dancing in circles. Until finally, the land was formed. And today we call that land North America. Now what this story can teach us about the muskrat too is, well, when I was a teenager, I went to Algonac schools and we were called the muskrats. And whenever I was with students from other schools and we'd sit around and tell each other what the mascot was, the Algonac school was called muskrats. And I was almost ashamed to say it because people would laugh at me. But then when I heard this story about the muskrat, it made me feel proud to be a muskrat after that. And we like to say, An Guan Zig. Now, An means doing the best of the essence of you. And Guan Zig means, and doing the best of you, going out there into the world, doing the best you can for everybody. I know. So, we like to say, An Guam Zig, do the best you can. Giizhigad, muskrats. An Guam Zig, Giizhigad, do the best you can, muskrats.
Osio, I'm Nickole Fox, and I'm Cherokee, and I've lived my whole life in southeastern Michigan. I'm married to Mike, and I have 2 amazing daughters. This is one of them here, Chloe. Living in Michigan, I've always had connections to the water, with all the Great Lakes, and spent a lot of time near Lake St. Clair and the metro parks and whatnot. Have a lot of people that go fishing in my family. I was just thinking about the first water ceremony that I attended, and I was asking Sue over there if she had any ideas. But I know it was in a urban area, a little north of Detroit, Flint or Pontiac, and I was probably in middle school, and it was part of the Indian education program. I was in Gina Zapinski and Lisa Zapinski were my Indian ed teachers, and I enjoyed my time with them a lot. But that first water ceremony I went to was really, really powerful for me. One thing I remember is that the person who was facilitating the ceremony actually used a shell, like an ocean shell, for the ceremony, and that reminded me of my mom. And my mom she was into shells in general, but she had one of those big ocean shells that I still have now. And that ceremony and every other water ceremony I'd ever been a part of, like, it's just a huge sense of sharing and community and generosity. It's like we could all see each other and shared water with each other, and it made me feel really good. Been to a lot of water ceremonies through, like, the work at American Indian Health and in southeastern Michigan. I remember, I guess water ceremonies are part of so many other ceremonies, just to have that balance. Like when there's a fire, there's water. I remember men coming together for fire teaching, and it was George Martin that came and helped with that. And he's like, we need to do a water ceremony. We need somebody. I was like, I can do the best I can. So we just prayed for the water and sang for the water. And it was really good.
Bonjour, Giizhigad Giizhigad Anishinaabe and Dao, Wawayatanong Ednokim and Ondat. My name is Giizhi, and I live and work in the city of Detroit. And we are out here on the water today, visiting with our beautiful Nibi and sharing stories with each other and singing songs together in honor of her. And we've talked about a lot of cool things today, like Sue shared with us that beautiful creation story of our beautiful Turtle Island, and Nickole was talking about our relationship to the water. And I love our Nibi, our waters, so much in the Great Lakes, even though under this system of settler colonialism has brought a lot of exploitation and threat to our relative, the water. And water gives us life, and it is a little scary in these times that we have had the fossil fuel industry and different forms of pollution and extraction of our earth with pipelines that are carrying, you know, those fossil fuels under the Great Lakes. And those pipelines, they're at risk of bursting, and that puts our entire Great Lakes system at risk. And we as Indigenous people from all over the world, there are Indigenous people fighting for the waters and fighting for the lands to be free, because with her liberation comes all of our wellness, right? So we are always fighting for her to not be exploited in this way, so that we can live in sustainable ways with the earth and stop the impact of climate change on all our people and on the beings in the earth, the four-leggeds, the winged ones, all the ones that Sue talked about in the story, right? We want them all to be protected too, because those are our relations. And we do this work in all kinds of ways, but part of this work is just living our lives and like living our culture out. So sharing these stories like this and singing our songs and giving our offerings to her, so that she knows that we still recognize her as a relative.
I remember when Pumpkin came and did some teachings too, and she was talking about, I think I had this little one. This one was little, so I remember being pregnant pretty clearly at that point, and we were chasing her around, and Pumpkin was giving those teachings about how like our bodies are made out of water, and we're all made out of water, and that your first experience of life is in the water, in your mommy's belly. So I was thinking about how important it is for us to protect ourselves as part of the water too, and protect that water that we're putting into our bodies and all the things that we're putting into our bodies.